Oh my god, this is gonna be tricky. Okay, hold on a second. I think it looks awesome. Your face, I can't. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Carly and we are going to be preparing Super Bowl snacks for this upcoming Super Bowl on Sunday. If you watched my last video, you will have seen what I have prepared, what I'm going to be making in this video. Come along with me and let's try out these 4 recipes that I will be making for our Super Bowl Sunday vegan snacks. Moving on to item number 2 is our pizza rolls. So what I'm going to do is just make this whole thing up. I have not made pizza dough gluten-free before, and a lot of recipes were saying all-purpose flour, but they don't have xanthan gum. So what I'm gonna do is, I think I might just quarter this recipe. My original recipe for regular non-gluten-free pizza dough, it says 4 cups of flour, so I was gonna do 2 and do 1 here and 1 here. I might kick myself for doing this because me and math, not a thing. So I'm going to do half a cup of all-purpose gluten-free flour. In the future, I think I'm just gonna strictly buy like bags from the store just to minimize any like cross-contamination between gluten, but for now, this is what we're doing. Next up, 1 tablespoon of sugar. So if we're quartering that, we're going to do, tablespoon is 15 mils. I believe a teaspoon's 5, 10, 15, that's a third. Let's go with a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon, that's a third. It's close enough to a quarter. A scant teaspoon. Okay, sugar, done. All right, yeast, 2 1/4 of a teaspoon. A quarter of 2 1/4 of a teaspoon isn't really anything even, so I figure about a heaping half teaspoon is what we're gonna do. So I have a 1/4 teaspoon here. Quick rise instant yeast here. Okay, so heaping, quarter, and another heaping-ish quarter. So it's like a heaping half teaspoon, if my maths are correct. Okay, now we need some salt, a teaspoon. So we're just going to actually just 1/4 teaspoon salt. It's okay. It's a little salty, or I'm salty. Okay, so we have flour, sugar, yeast, salt, half a cup of water, 1 Beyond sausage, just going to be cooking in the pan over there. Okay, we're gonna mix this. So this is very experimental. Our dough should not be like a paste. So what we're going to do is actually add more flour, because this is very sticky. I definitely did look up pizza dough recipes that were gluten-free, and I just ignored them all and thought, I'm gonna wing it myself. The best way to learn, y'all, winging it yourself. Probably added about a 1/4 cup. Okay, we're definitely getting somewhere. So I'm just kneading it. It's not sticky anymore. It's just becoming a nice pliable dough like Play-Doh. Ta-da! Amazing. Okay, love it. All right, I'm just gonna use a damp paper towel. It's actually pretty wet, but that's okay. And put it over top like that. And I will probably, I already preheated my oven. Dang it. And I'm just gonna set it in a warm spot, so on top of the oven. While the dough is rising, let's move on to the next recipe, number 3. We have our jerk chicken drumsticks, but we're going to just make them plain. So the recipe that I found on Instagram, she did have a regular drumstick video and she also had a jerk chicken. So once again, winging it, we are going to just combine the 2. Okay, we are going to start with our oyster mushrooms. I have water that is going to start to boil right now because the first thing we're going to do is be boiling the mushrooms. So in her video, she cut off the tops, and I think the bottoms are already cut off on these anyways. And then we're going to mandolin them. Mandolin these little babies up. All right, here is the final results. This was so much fun, I'm not gonna lie. So much fun. To our boiling water, I'm going to add our nutritional yeast, teaspoon of sage, and tablespoon of poultry seasoning because I do not have all-purpose seasoning. And of course, last but not least, our mushrooms. We're going to boil for about 10 minutes. While that's boiling, what I'm going to do is make up a dry mix and then make it into a paste so it's kind of like a marinade that I could put over top of the drumstick when it's done. Oh my god, what just happened? We're gonna do some nutritional yeast, and I don't know if this will make 1 or 2, so I'm not really trying to make that much of a seasoning, but if there's some left over and it's good, I can just save it in the fridge. And then we're gonna do salt. Okay, and then poultry seasoning yet again. And we'll do a few taps of that. Smoked paprika. So a little bit of smoked paprika. And then one of the other things in her dry mix was mixed herbs. So I'm just going to use some Italian seasoning. Just a little. I'm gonna add some milk. So let's add a bit of that. I mean, it smells delicious. So I'm having high hopes for this. Ooh, yeah. I think that's looking really good. Alrighty, let's take a looky-loo. Alright, they're looking really good. They look like hers in her video. I just strained these mushrooms loosely, and now I'm going to add some flour, some gluten-free 1-to-1 flour into our little marinade. Alrighty, next step is water. I hope that this bowl is the right size. And we have our rice papers here. Wet the rice paper. I think I'm gonna need something different. Okay, I need a plate, I think. Okay, let's try this instead. Okay, now we'll lay it out here, and we will start to layer our little chicken pieces. Okay, so now we have our beautiful, it just looks like a little pile. I don't know how she wrapped this, but let's just. Oh my goodness, it's humongous. Okay, so anyways, now I'm gonna put some oil in my air fryer, and then what we're gonna do is put our marinade on our drumstick. It smells so good. Okay, I think that's like pretty well coated. I think it looks awesome. So I'm gonna plop it in here in the air fryer. Here's a nice close-up. Look at how good it looks. Oh my god, I'm so shocked. Okay, so let's stick it into our air fryer. All right, it's been about, I think I put the timer on for like 6 minutes or something like that. Honestly, I can't remember, but ooh, sounds crispy. I'm gonna flip it over. Ooh, I think I'm gonna do it a few more minutes so that the other side can kind of get greasy and crispy like this side. It looks more like a fish stick. I think it's just the way that I shaped it. Pretty, but that's the other side, crisped up. Ooh, okay, let's try it. Oh, it's very like, ooh, it's hot, juicy. I mean, like chewy. Ooh. Okay, it's cooler now. Let's give it a try. It smells so good. I really have high hopes for this. It's pretty chewy. Honestly. That's really good. Like, really good. Chewy. Maybe I boiled the mushrooms a little bit longer, but the seasoning I made, so good. Holy. I would try maybe doing them in the oven, and I would try maybe adding to the marinade some oil, so maybe it has like that greasy fried chicken taste, because some of it was a little bit greasy from the oil I put in the air fryer. So okay, we're gonna get Clay to try this, because this is definitely on our menu. Okay, delicious. All right, after finishing eating that, I realized the center part that was like super thick was not very flavorful, so it was more mushroom tasting. And I also realized this recipe would probably freak out like a meat eater unless you said mushroom drumsticks or something like that. They taste really good, and I definitely could have gone heavier with the seasoning, like put more after I air fried it once, put more, another coating on. Or what I'm thinking is I could have put the seasoning, like toss the mushrooms in the seasoning and then wrap them up to add more flavor to the inside too. I'm thinking I might have sliced them too thick because I couldn't like bite through, like that's how rubbery they were. I couldn't just like bite through the mushrooms a clean bite. It was like stringing, like it was all of them coming out, and it was really hard to cut. So either I need to boil them longer, or I would mandolin them thinner, like as thin as possible. Tips for you if you want to try this recipe. On to our next recipe. Our dough is ready now. It has risen, and we are going to roll it out and finish our little pizza ball, pizza pocket friends. And here is what our dough turned out to look like. What I'm gonna do is take a little ball and roll it. I'm going to just do more like a ravioli. I have better hopes for this. Cheese, oregano, and some sausage. Now, what I think could be beneficial is actually using the water on the edges. So we'll just put a little water on my finger and kind of run it around the edge here and pat it down. Since the tops are kind of cracking a bit, I'm just gonna brush the tops with some oil and we'll hope for the best after that. All right, into the oven we go at 400, and I'm gonna turn down to 25. We're just gonna try these ones and see how they go before doing any more. Here are our results. I am actually so happy with this. I left them in a few more minutes, so I did about maybe closer to 15. So very, ooh, okay, they didn't stick. Very crispy on the outside, a little brown on the underside. Maybe I didn't need to leave them for that long. We'll cut one open and taste test and see how they taste. See what it looks like. Ooh, it really like puffed up. Like there's a good space between there. I almost could have filled it fuller. Okay, that's good. Okay, time for our taste test of our pizza pocket. I think I could have filled it fuller, or it would be risky, but I could have made the dough thinner. I'm so happy. This turned out way better, and the dough's really good. It's actually so good. Success. On to our next food item. All right, y'all. It is a new day, so we are going to finish our trial snacks. So next up, the fourth thing on our list. This is gonna look weird because I'm wearing a totally different outfit, and I actually skipped the first thing, and I started with number 2. So after this one, we're gonna go back to number 1, but it's fine. So the last one on our list today is the vegan crab cakes. Now to start, we're using hearts of palm. So I'm making a half version of this recipe. So first up, we're going to do hearts. We're putting the hearts of palm into our bowl here. And so I've never used this before, and I don't even know what a heart of palm is, but I guess you're supposed to shred it just with your fingers. So, ooh, interesting. Okay. I also drain them and rinse them. I don't know if you're supposed to rinse them, but I'm gonna cut them into thirds here. Our hearts of palm are shredded. Let's saute up the hearts of palm in some oil. Add in our nori sheet, red peppers, celery, we're gonna saute this for 10 minutes. All right, let's add our onions and garlic to our mix. And we're just gonna mix this up and then turn it off and let it cool down. While that's cooling, I'm just going to prepare our breading mixture, which is just our gluten-free breadcrumbs, which these ones are actually, they actually look like breadcrumbs. Thank you. The other ones that I got, awful. They were like dried rice. That's like literally, they were like Rice Krispies. It was awful. Anyway. We'll do that much for now, because I mean the breading is literally just the breadcrumbs and Old Bay, so I figure can just pop more in here if we need. And I'm feeling, I don't know, I might just add a little salt to this mixture too, just so I'm not putting like crazy amount of Old Bay. A little salt. Our mix is now, it's not cold. I can touch it easy with my hand and it's not hot, so I think that's fine. So we're gonna just plop it in to our bowl here. I have really high hopes for these, as I do with all things I make. Now let's add in our Old Bay, more Old Bay. She did say there would be a lot of it, so cornstarch, 1 teaspoon. A trick I like to use is just using the lid to level off my small things like this. My half teaspoon of cornstarch and 1/4 cup of mayo. So half will be 2 tablespoons of mayo. All right, let's mix it all together now. Let's form the patties now, put them in the breading mixture, and then they go in the freezer for 15 minutes. I thought they were going to be super sticky, but this is actually okay. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. Our oil is hot. I'm not really trying to deep fry, but I put quite a good amount of oil in there. Here are our results. They're actually looking so good. I was really sad when at that first one that broke, and then I was like, oh my god, are these even gonna work? Were they too dry? Did I need to but then these ones are actually doing okay. So I have a few more left. I'm cooking one more in the oil, and look how much breadcrumbs I'm losing. So I'm not okay with that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these in my air fryer, and we're going to see how they air fry. Okay, let's give it a shot. Mmm. Ooh. I might have gone a little too much with like the salt. Oh my god. Okay. I feel like a tartar sauce or something would be really good with these too. Like, I think I might have left them in the pan too long and they got too dry. So if they are dry, make sure there's more liquid like mayo in the mixture before breading it, then they'll stay together better. And probably fry bread it, but I'm gonna try air frying it, and yeah, let's see how that turns out. I kind of burnt that one, but I want to show you guys the inside because it looks so good. Okay, hold on. Like, look at that. Oh. And I'm not great at deep frying or like frying stuff like this, so I call this a win, and they are so good. Here are our results from air frying. I don't want to see how they're getting brown. I don't want to accidentally burn them, so I'm gonna pull them out, and let's taste test the air fry version. I'm just gonna rip it apart because still good. Still really good. Just fall aparty, you know? This is really good air fried. Really good because you could eat more when they're like fried like that. So greasy, I find. So okay, these are such a win. Oh my god. So good. Now that that recipe is done with, let's move on to our last, but actually our first recipe that I was supposed to make in the very beginning, but that's fine. So it was our Philly cheesesteak taquitos. I'm so excited for this. I was deciding between tofu and mushrooms, but I've just decided, since I have all these oyster mushrooms, that I'm going to just cook them all up and in this recipe. So I'm not going to have this recipe. I'm going to just make a full recipe. I don't know if this is 10 ounces of mushrooms. Also, it said to use pearl oyster mushrooms, not king. So we're going to really see how this works out. Let's get going. What we're going to do first is shred all of our mushrooms. Alright, y'all. This is so many mushrooms, so I'm going to actually weigh out 10 ounces because I think this is way too much for the recipe. This is our 10 ounces of mushrooms. Let's get to marinating our mushrooms. So it says Worcestershire, but I don't have Worcestershire, so we are going to just use double the amount of soy sauce instead. So I have my gluten-free soy sauce. And it says balsamic vinegar, but I have rice vinegar, so we're going to use rice vinegar instead. 1/4 teaspoon, 4 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon each onion and garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/8 teaspoon black pepper. So I'm just going to stir this up and let it marinate. Our time is done. Look at how they have transformed. They're like these juicy little tender pieces of not meat. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, let's get them into the pan. Next step, saute our onions. Let's toss in some red peppers. I've taken out the onions and peppers and set them aside. I'm going to crank up the heat and then throw in our oyster mushrooms, marinated oyster mushrooms, into the pan in one even layer. While the mushrooms are cooking about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to start melting my cheese and start prepping for our pan for our taquito wrap to be put in here in the oven. We're using our Jaya block today. We're gonna cut some of that. And I just added some of our next milk into here to melt down with it. Okay, our mushrooms are looking nice and crispy. Oh, those look so good. So I'm just going to turn them off and leave them until the rest of our ingredients are done. Alrighty, our cheese is melted and everything is ready. So let's start wrapping and putting them in our pan. Alright, here is our final result. You can brush them with oil if you want. I've decided not to, but I did spray the pan. So let's get them in the oven and go. Alright, they are done out of the oven, and listen to this. Ooh, they sound crispy. I can't wait to try one. They're finally cool enough that I can, oh my gosh, eat them. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's try it. Hold on, it's like all over my face. Okay, Clay's just munching away, so I feel like they're delicious. So let me try with nothing, like no dip or anything. These are so good. This was so worth it. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. These better be worth it. Let me try it in some tofu sour cream, sour supreme. The perfect finger food. They're so good. And versatile. You could literally fill them with anything. But I chose Philly cheesesteak because we are cheering for the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday. So Philly cheesesteak taquitos it is. And that finishes off our Super Bowl Sunday snack items. All of them are vegan, gluten-free. You could mix them up a little bit. I may or may not swap out one of these items for the 7-layer dip. Because personally the 7-layer dip is like so good. So we'll see what I end up, the final 4 that I actually end up doing, because 5 is just way too many. So I'm gonna get back at it and eat these, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you decide to use one of these recipes or inspired you for one of your snack recipes, because I was just sick of every video saying let's make nachos. No, I don't want vegan nachos. They get cold. They're just, they ain't it, okay? Okay? Especially for people, non-vegan people, okay? Alright, I hope you enjoyed, and I'm going to enjoy this now. So, bye!